buried under all the information flying around. Like, you just wish you could figure out what's really going on.
Yeah, like you need a filter or something.
Exactly. Well, today we're kind of handing you that filter. We're doing a deep dive into analytical thinking, not as some, boring theory, but as actual tools you can use every day to basically become a detective in your own life.
That's a great way to put it. We want to give you a framework, really, to look at information with more clarity.
Sure.
And maybe be less likely to get swayed by things that aren't quite right.
Okay, so what are these tools? You mentioned 3 key ones.
Yeah, 3 core ideas. Let's start with the first one. Disinterest.
Disinterest. Okay, that sounds a bit cold, like not caring.
Right, but it's not about not caring. It's more about consciously detaching from your own biases, your own stake in the outcome, trying to be objective.
Okay, so like if a politician gets up and says, my brilliant new plan will help absolutely everyone.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Disinterest means you don't just accept that. You start asking, okay, who really benefits most here? Where's the money coming from for this plan?
And who might actually be left out, even if they say everyone.
Exactly. You're looking past that surface claim.
Yeah.
Digging a bit deeper.
Okay, got it. So, tool number 2.
Suspension of judgment.
Ooh, that sounds hard. Especially now, everything moves so fast, you feel like you have to have an opinion immediately.
It is tough. It really is. But it's about deliberately hitting pause on that urge to agree or disagree right away.
Resisting the knee-jerk reaction.
Precisely. Before you really have the whole story.
So let's say you see some crazy headline online like, new study proves coffee cures baldness.
Yeah, something like that. Your first instinct might be, wow, amazing, or no way.
Right.
But suspending judgment means you stop and you ask, okay, what kind of study was this? How many people were in it? Was it like 10 people?
Or 10,000.
Yeah.
And who paid for it? The coffee company.
Exactly. Was it peer-reviewed? You ask those questions before you decide whether to believe it or run out for more coffee. It lets you evaluate it properly.
Makes sense. Okay, and the third tool?
Impartial listening.
Which is more than just hearing, right?
Oh, definitely. It's about actively trying to understand all sides of an issue, even if you have a strong feeling about it already. Really hearing people out.
Like if you have 2 friends arguing,
Yeah.
and you know one better.
Yeah, perfect scenario. Instead of just automatically siding with your closer friend, impartial listening means you genuinely listen to both their stories.
Ask questions like, okay, what happened from your perspective?
Right. Open-ended questions.
Yeah.
Because that can uncover, the hidden stuff, the real motivations that you'd miss if you just jump to a conclusion.
So these 3 tools, disinterest, suspending judgment, impartial listening, why are they so, vital just for getting through the day?
Well, think about everything we're constantly bombarded with. Politicians, the media.
Ads, social media.
All of it. Analytical thinking helps you cut through the noise. You start noticing the loaded language. Like when someone calls something common sense reform.
You ask, common sense for who?
Exactly. Or uses words like patriots versus radicals.
Yeah.
You question who is defining those terms and why. You also start spotting when data is cherry-picked just to support one side of an argument.
And it's not just about news, is it? You mentioned looking at organizations, too.
Yeah, it's really insightful. You can compare what a group says it values, maybe community focus or helping the needy, with what they actually do.
Like where their money and time really go.
Precisely. Are their actions lining up with their stated mission? It encourages that kind of deep check.
You even brought up social stuff like high school cliques, which seems maybe less serious, but...
But the dynamics are there. Think about how reputations get formed, how gossip works. An analytical approach makes you notice patterns, like who always seems to be the target of negative stories, who benefits when someone's reputation goes down.
So you start questioning the narrative instead of just accepting it.
Yes. You look at the underlying power plays.
Okay, so we get the tools, we see where they apply, but what's the real, incentive? Why put in the effort?
The payoff is huge, actually. It's about gaining autonomy, real clarity. You become way less easily manipulated.
By ads, by peer pressure?
By political spin, by those online echo chambers where everyone just agrees with each other. Your choices become more grounded in reality.
Choosing a career, deciding who your friends are, based on facts, not just hype.
Exactly. And there's another big benefit, empathy.
Really? How does that work?
Well, when you try to analyze why people act the way they do, not just what they did, you start to understand their motivations, their pressures, their perspectives. even if you don't agree with them.
So you see the bigger picture behind their actions.
Yeah. And that understanding, that empathy, is incredibly helpful for, resolving conflicts or just building stronger relationships.
So it's not about being cynical then. Analytical thinking isn't negative.
Not at all. It's empowering. It's about seeing things more clearly so you can navigate the world with more confidence, more insight.
Okay, so for everyone listening, the challenge is next time you're scrolling, or maybe you're in a discussion or making a choice, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, what's not being said here? What's the assumption? What am I maybe missing?
That's the key question.
Yeah.
Because often the real truth and, your own power to understand, it lies in those gaps.
Yeah.
In what's not immediately obvious.
Be the thinker, not just the thought being fed to you.
Exactly. Be the analyst.